Hello, Jim Adams here. Today I want to share with you that I made over $2,100 last month selling options. I actually only did 15 trades and spent a couple hours each week. So please stay tuned. I'm actually going to share my trades so you can see what I did and why I did it and what I learned along the way. So I think you're going to enjoy what I have for you today. So stick around. Welcome to the Easy Investing Income YouTube channel, a channel that's dedicated to reaching financial independence sooner with selling options as well as dividend income. A little less than a year ago, I decided to really learn how to sell options. Up to that point, I was primarily selling covered calls and I really didn't know what I was doing. So, just shy of a year ago, I went ahead and started to try to learn the right way to sell options. And since then, I've learned that I can earn on a regular basis close to 2000 a month. Sometimes I've earned a bit less, sometimes a bit more. And it's been kind of a real eye opener that right there available to me was some really easy passive income. So my goal of this channel is to teach people how to do it, so they can also take the steps that I took and actually make additional money on their current investments. So before I actually share with you what I did last month, let's go ahead and let me mention that I am not a professional. This is something I do as a hobby that I enjoy doing. And if you want to try some of these trades, I encourage you to do your own due diligence, do some research, and be sure you know what you're getting into. So that being said, let's go ahead and let's jump into my trades from last month where I earned a little over $2,100. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so here's my spreadsheet from the previous month. You can see July 2021. This is the journal system that I typically use to keep track of my trades. It keeps everything pretty organized, and over time I've actually changed some things and added a little bit more detail so that I could get an idea of like trends or things that to be aware of. I've added the current price. I've dividend X date, which has been kind of an issue for me. Anything that I've had assigned typically has been related to the X dividend date. So I've added more information to the spreadsheet, and it's something I do provide to my Patreon. Anyone who joins my patron page, you can find all my spreadsheets out there and my actual trades. So let's go ahead and jump into the trade. So the first one I did was ExxonMobil, and I did it back on January 6th. And I've been doing ExxonMobil puts for quite a while and have found that they can be very profitable. And it also trades usually between a pretty narrow range. So to me, the risk is a lot less because it rarely will go down big time, and that's where you're running into a risk is if it goes into the money, meaning it the price of ExxonMobil goes in this case below 55, it could get me potentially in trouble. But I did a spread, so I did the inner with a 55 strike and an outer with a 45, and I made, what is that, a little bit, yeah, 112. And I could have made a little bit more if I had done this just as a cash secured put, but I didn't want to do that. I decided to do these vertical put spreads instead of a lot of cash secured puts. That way I would have a lot more margin left over and do more trades. It also gave me the ability to um, add another layer of or another way of reducing risk. So that's the first trade. Another way to look at it too with a vertical put spread, I still look at it as a cash secured put in some ways, but I've just added that outer arm mainly because I'm willing to purchase ExxonMobil. So if it gets assigned to me, I'm perfectly okay with it. And it's like I said, it's been a good stock. I've been able to make good money on it. Probably in this journey I've been on, I probably have traded 7, 8 times, and in every case made pretty good money. The next one is another cash or is a cash secured put. So I did not do a vertical put spread with it. And I did that on Intel. And Intel's another great stock I've been trading with and been able to do quite well with it. And for it, I did two contracts at 77. So I made $150 on a cash secure put at 50 and with a 1.987. So it's 80% probability of expiring outside the money. So again, another good stock to trade in, and it has worked well for me. Then I did a vertical put spread also on the 6th. So I did 3 trades on the 6th of July, and then didn't do another one till, what is that, the 13th? So I did DVY, which is it's an ETF, a dividend-based ETF that also has some of these same stocks. I believe it has ExxonMobil and Intel, but I like DVY because it does pay a pretty good dividend. And sometimes when I'm not sure what I want to invest in, I will default to DVY. I've made good money with it. I do own quite a few shares of it. And I sold another vertical put spread with 107 and 98. And I believe it's right now, what is it showing? At that point, it was trading at 115, and it was a 0.2159, so like a 78% chance probability it would expire outside the money. And let's see, for these two, I did, make sure I'm on the right, I did $109, so not bad. Again, I'm trying to always get right around $100 for these trades. And I actually did that on 7/8, so I made one trade on 7/6 and then 2 trades on 7/8. And then here's my third trade. I won't go into a whole lot of detail with cover calls. I own a lot of Coke mainly because I invested it, or not invested it, inherited it. So I will, whenever Coke goes high, and here you can see it went pretty high. And then I also, we're looking at the ex-dividend date. So I did a covered call with it, and I made $130. So not bad for a quick trade. Then I didn't do another trade till July 16th. And for it, I did LEG, and trying to remember what the symbol for that. Can't think of the name of the company, but again, it's another quality company. It was trading at 48, and I did a 45.35 vertical put spread. And for it, I did right around 120. So it's another stock that I enjoy trading, especially buying puts. I wouldn't mind owning it at that value at 45. So, and it does pay a really good dividend. So, like I said, I typically will, you'll notice a lot of the stocks I invest in are dividend aristocrats and pay good dividends. So let's move on. Now here's one of my exceptions. I've been wanting to own Apple for a while, so I went ahead and I did a vertical put spread, and I did it at 125 on July 19th, expiring September 17th, and at that point it was at 144. So I got some good premium, 152 in premium for the short call, or not short call, short put. And then for the outer arm, I paid 77. So for a total of about 147. So I earned 147 on 2 contracts. And you can see it's a relatively small delta. So it's like an 85% chance that it would expire outside the money when I made that, when I sold that contract. And it actually has gone higher. I think it's maybe closer to 150. So it's one of the exceptions. I typically try to not trade on with too many stocks that are over 100, but Apple is one I've been looking at and wanting to own. Here I am again with Intel, so I rolled the vertical put spread, and I think it might have been from the one earlier. Let's go back up to here for Intel A20. So this is a different one. So I did another one. I rolled it from it was expiring 7/23. I rolled it on 7/19, and pretty much it kept it at the same level. And let's see how well I did. Only 82, so it was pretty close to the money. You can see I ran the risk of actually having it assigned, so I went ahead and rolled that one out. And again, I do all these trades through Schwab with my regular brokerage I've had for many, many years. I've been with Schwab probably for over 20 years. Okay, so the next trade I did on 7/19, and this is ABBV or ABBV, and it was trading at 114 at the time. I did a 105 vertical put spread with a 95 for the outer. So, and it was again at 0.1959, which again puts me at that 80% probability. This one, I think I made pretty good money here. What was it? 145. So again, trying to get between 100 and 150 on each trade. And I've probably done 3 trades with AbbVie, and it pays a really good dividend. It's a really good company. If you look at its current earnings, it's doing really well, and it's got a reasonable price. 114 isn't outrageous. If I could get it for 105, I think it would pay close to a 4% dividend. So there again, it's another stock I want to own. This is one of probably my most unusual trade, AT&T, partially because I did a leap and I said, well, if I could get AT&T for $20 in about almost 2 years, that's worth the risk. The thought that AT&T could be $20, it could happen, but I don't think so. But I earned $192. That was probably my best trade for the month, and it's something I tried something a little bit different. Right now, it's not moved much. It's still around 27, and so we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. We'll hopefully it'll go up. I would think that a reasonable price for AT&T is probably closer to 35, especially with some of the deals they've made recently, and their balance sheet is looking a lot better. And now here's another. I rolled a covered call, and with the rolling, you can see I did pretty well. I think I made 117 with rolling it. I'm playing with this strategy of doing some coke and rolling it pretty close to the money and make money each time. So far, that's worked. And then I did another covered call. This one I did for it's a leap. It's a little farther out, a little bit more risk. Again, I'm willing to sell Coca-Cola, any of these covered calls. And this one was at 65. I'd be more than willing to buy Coca-Cola or have it assigned at 65 and by the January 20th, 23. So, and I earned, what is that, 193? I'm looking at the screen. It's hard for me to see. Yeah, 193. So it was a good trade. Made quite a bit. Now this is kind of the one I've been having issues with, which is Microsoft. And I did my last video related to what's happened with Microsoft. I encourage you to take a look at that video. I'll have a link to it below. It may be my first. Well, it's going to be my first big loss that I've taken. It got assigned literally the day before the ex-dividend date. And what's interesting about it, and I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail, you can actually watch that other video. When it got assigned, I had plenty of cash to pay for it, but Schwab actually loaned me those shares, so I have a negative 100 shares, and I have the option to buy those when I'm ready and able. I could even do it over time, like buy a couple of shares. But I feel like Microsoft, it's gone through the roof. It went from 240 to over 300, and just in the last couple of days, it's dropped down by $5 or $6. And I think it's going to get back to 280, which will minimize my loss. But I was able to roll it here for a little bit of a profit. We can see what's the amount, 146. And so when I take into those considerations, and then this may be where I rolled it to 260. I think I rolled it again to 255. But again, if you want to learn more about that, it's in the previous video. And the big issue again is the ex-dividend date. I need to really be diligent about the ex-dividend date, and I encourage you to, because I thought I had that day to trade, but it actually got assigned the day before. So I probably need anything that's got an ex-dividend date. I'm going to trade a little bit before, but I'm not going to do. This is a trade that I'm not going to do anymore. This is a call credit spread. So I had talked about vertical credit spreads. This is a call credit spread. So you buy an inner arm for the call, and then you buy a farther out. Um, and in this case, it does okay as long as it doesn't go through the roof. And Microsoft has gone through the roof. And the only other time I've done this kind of a trade, again, the call credit spread was with ARKK, and I was able to get out of that without any issues. But this is the last time it's been assigned. I'm not going to do any more of those trades. It's not going to be part of my safe option strategy. So, so that's Microsoft. Let's move down to I did ED. I did a covered call with it. Again, it's another aristocrat. It pays a good dividend, something I'm willing to own. I did it for sell to open at 80. So yeah, this is a covered call. I already do own it actually. Sometimes I'll also buy puts because I want to own more of it. And for this covered call, I actually did 188. That's really good. And I did it almost 60 days, 7, 8, 9, actually more than 60 days, almost 4 months. So it's a little farther out there, and I did earn a good premium, and sometimes it's a little bit harder to find good premium on calls. So next is Southern Company SO. Um, did it on the 26th. I did another covered call for it. I do own quite a bit of Southern Company. It pays a good dividend, and it stays pretty even keel. It never goes up a whole lot or goes down a whole lot. So pretty, it's not real risky to trade on. And I did a little bit more risk with it. I did a 0.30 delta, which again is like a 70% chance it could it would expire outside the money. So a little bit more risk here, and I did okay. Well, I did pretty good with the premium, $114. Um, so that one a little bit more risk. Let's see, I did it again a little longer. So we'll see how those go. But again, I've had a pretty good track record with Southern Company. I probably have written 5 or 6 of these covered calls with it. I also will do puts for it, or do vertical put spreads for it, or just depending on the price. And right now it's at 67.5. But yeah, so I typically just do the cash secured puts on the stocks that are less than 60. Um, Corning is another covered call. I have 400 shares of it, and I did 2 contracts expiring on September 17th, and took a little bit more risk with it. But again, I've done lots of contracts with Corning, and I probably need to be sure I'm not messing up with the ex-dividend dates. But I believe it's selling currently around 41 or 42, so I'll keep an eye on it. But right now it's been a good stock to trade on. I did 2 contracts, 59, so I made 100, almost 117 with it. So those are my trades. I did 15 trades. They were pretty broken out during the month. I think I did do 4 trades on one day. So I averaged 2 or 3 trades each week, and probably spent maybe an hour, 2 hours. Um, I probably would spend less time if I wasn't doing these videos and trying to share with other people. But it's definitely passive. I don't need a whole lot of time to do this. Um, and you can see in a lot of cases I'm doing 2 contracts. In some cases I do one. So Southern Company, that was actually one contract, and one made 114. So that's really good. And here you can see I did 2130 for the month. My average was 142, which I'd like to get closer to 150, but 142, for such little work, it's, if you only did one of these and you can earn 142, that pays a lot of bills for a lot of people. That's what, phone bill and maybe water and sewer or something along those lines. Um, Here is a breakdown of what I did. I did 2 cash secured puts. I did 6 vertical put spreads, 6 covered calls, and then I rolled one vertical call, which again is Microsoft. So I did roll 2 of the covered calls, and one of the vertical put spread. So pretty good balance there. I think I had what eight puts and 7 calls, so pretty equal. I think going forward I'll probably do more puts than calls. I do find you get more premium with the puts than the calls. Um, but as I buy more and more dividend paying stocks, I probably will do more covered calls too. Um, Whenever the market does a major dive, like the other day when or I think it was a couple of weeks ago to now, when it dropped by 700 points, I ended up picking up several shares in different companies to round things up to the 100. So here you can see as a percent for total yearly, I did 4.28%. So if you look at 2130 and you apply that to a yearly basis on, the total account value, which is close to 600,000, that's where I come up with the 4.28. I also wanted to add here percent on a 250 account. I did another video talking about what size account you would need to do this. Actually, it may have been a blog post. But if you had a $250,000 account, you could do a lot of these trades too. These are my original brokerage accounts. So there's stocks in here I probably will keep forever, and my son will inherit them. But on a $250,000 account, you could earn close to 10% doing these kinds of trades. And I think you could even do more. If I take the big loss with Microsoft, then I'm going to increase the trading and do more per month. I've been sticking to 2,000 a month because that's what I want to earn. If I earn any more than that, I take a hit in taxes, and I'm on Obamacare. I take a hit related to the premiums on my insurance policies. So what's been amazing again is how passive this can be, and it's relatively doesn't take a whole lot of time. Again, what's taking most of my time is trying to do these videos, and hopefully I'm getting better with them. I do want to ask you, please hit that like button, and if you don't mind, please subscribe. I'm trying to grow this channel, trying to get the word out, want more people to learn. This is something that most financial planners don't even do. There are a few that will do covered calls, but for the most part, they don't. And I actually have worked with 2 different financial planners in the past, and I've taken over doing my own investments now. So it's something that taking it over yourself and being able to do it with, like I said, I've traded with Schwab for 20 years, and it's worked out well for me. And I have other videos related to how to get approved with Schwab to do this. You can always make a phone call and talk to them directly, but it's something that's worked out well for me. And like I said, I'm coming to my year end for this journey I've been on, and I'll share my results for the whole year in an upcoming video and where I'm going to go next. I'm got some interesting ideas of what I want to do next. So as always, I hope you enjoyed this. Please add some comments. I'll have links below to my blog as well as my Patreon page. And as always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and see you soon. Bye-bye.